Rue Bear?
Yeah.
Sorry to stop you.
Yeah.
Okay, shall I take you on before we talk? Come on. Ready? I've got slips on and everything. You better. Oh.
Hey!
Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that was so easy. All right. Sorry to stop you. Come talk to me. Can I hold you?
How do I feel about the miscarriage?
There you go. How do you feel about the miscarriage? Because people were concerned. Obviously, in the video where we were telling you guys, you walked out at one point, didn't you? And people were a little bit concerned. They wanted to know that you were okay.
You're fine.
You're fine, apart from your runny nose. Just sniff a little bit, thank you. Yeah, so you're fine. Do you want to explain a bit more about how you felt at the time?
I felt kind of a bit sad and kind of not, because I felt good for Hezzy that he was going away to some place, but I don't know the name of it.
Yes.
But I'm sad that Mummy had to have that time, and yeah. I don't really know what's...
If I had a little bit more background, so we told the kids at a time, just before Hezzy was going away for a bit, which just was because we needed to tell them, and that's how life goes. You can't always plan these things. And basically, Rue had the mixed feelings of being upset that he wasn't with his brother for a few days, and then also that obviously this has happened, and Rue made it aware after we spoke afterwards, Grimwade gang, like, around the table. Rue was like, I really want to have a little brother, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you wanted to have a little brother. Would it be cool if you did?
So there was 3 brothers.
Yeah, there'd be 3 brothers rather than just 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of 5 girls.
A lot of girls, a whole lot of girls that we got, isn't it? But yeah, so...
But Daddy's still a man, so
yeah,
there's 3 boys.
He counts. Daddy could be in the boy crew. Okay, thanks. I'm sure he appreciates that. But he's like the leader of the boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, Grimwade gang, I wanted you guys to know that Rue was okay. Obviously, you guys only get to see a snippet of any situations that we go through. So Tim did like make a mention at the end of that video that we was going to take time as a family, and we've spoken, and Rue just wants to get down and play football, which is fine. We've spoken together, and I'm getting nutmegged, and we've had conversations, but sometimes the conversations don't always just happen at one time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it can be an ongoing thing. So it's been challenging in ways, and at the same time almost normal in ways, because as a family we talk about a lot of stuff all the time. Like, we're really open with the kids about things, as I'm sure you're aware of, having been with us for a while, and if you're new, then welcome, and that's how we are. So like on a given morning, if Rue was feeling a bit down, he'd be like, you know, I don't really like talking about it, but I'm sad that you're having to go through this, Mummy. And then also he's a bit sad that he misses his brother whilst he's away. But yeah, so Rue is fine. Rue Bear, you all right? Yeah, he's fine. He's cool. And I just wanted you guys to know that, because obviously I know you care about Rue, and I want you guys to know that he's okay. So he's all good. I do feel like I've started, not to waffle, but I've felt since we let you guys know about the miscarriage, I felt really like this. Just because we're really open with you guys, and we do it so that we can hopefully help anybody that is going through a similar situation. But at the same time, when you do live your life openly, it can feel sometimes odd. Like, I was explaining to Tim the other day, like, I wouldn't necessarily call up someone randomly and say, oh yeah guys, just calling to let you know that I've had a miscarriage, kind of thing, because it'd be a bit of an odd conversation with particular people. But then obviously, because lots of people watch our videos, I would get a lot of messages from friends and family saying, oh, really sorry to hear your sad news, hope you're okay, and work colleagues as well, which is really, really lovely. But then it does kind of feel like, oh yeah, my situation I'm going through, everybody knows about it, but it's lovely that people are concerned that we're okay, which is great, and which is our intention. But you do have feelings that go alongside that, and sometimes you can, I don't know, overthink things, and I don't know, it's a weird thing to kind of express. But I know that a lot of women who have messaged me, a lot of my friends, they've said, Ella, like, I went through the same thing maybe last year, I went through the same thing before I had such and such child, and I know how you're feeling. And who was it that messaged? Was it mum? I can't remember, I think it was one of my mums, and they said, I went through this, and I know how Ella be feeling right now, which is really empty. And it isn't, because I do feel empty in the sense that I've had a miscarriage, But then I feel full in the fact that I've got 7 children as well, and I know what that whole journey is, and I've experienced it 7 times, but I just haven't experienced this, you know. And I do, again, I feel really sad for people who maybe this would have been their first experience of having a child, and maybe they've had a miscarriage, or they've been wanting to have another child and it's not happening and whatnot. So I really feel for like women who would be in that situation, whose maybe hands aren't as full with previous children, and that's quite sad. But then also, I usually go through a period of time, so like when I was starting to feel sick, because I was obviously pregnant, I tend to go into a phase where like I don't get my hair done, I don't get my nails done, I don't get my lashes done. I just kind of just go el natural like for about 3 or 4 months, just whilst I'm usually going through like the sickness phase. And I'm not feeling nauseous like I was before now, because obviously the pregnancy hormones are going down. But I feel like I've struggled a bit to kind of draw myself like, okay, now I want to go and get my hair done, I want to get my nails done, I want to get my lashes done, I want to feel like back on top of the world, because I do. But then at the same time, I still feel, I don't know if I would say it's morning, but I just still feel a little bit low inside, if you understand what that means. Guys, it's really sunny outside, and I do want to continue this conversation, but I would love you to follow me indoors so I can actually look at you rather than be squinting. I hope that's okay. Please stick around, because I do have more about what I've been through on this journey so far that I'd love to share with you. Okay, so we are back. So basically, I feel like there's a few ways that women would deal with this journey. Obviously, when you've had a miscarriage and the baby's obviously died, if you haven't bled naturally, then you can just leave it up to like 3 to 4 weeks, it says online, or I'm told, that you could wait for the natural process just to be natural and to take its course, unless obviously there's any other complications like infection or whatnot. But so far I'm not showing any signs of any sort of infection or what have you, which is a good thing. Thankful for that. But I just don't like the feeling of walking around knowing that I'm carrying a baby that's not alive. For me personally, that just doesn't leave me with a great feeling. Like, I've always experienced having life within my womb, you know, nurturing a child that is living. And at the moment, because my body just doesn't seem to be letting go of the baby and the remainders of what is within my womb and all that, like, I'm just feeling like every day I'm just waiting for the process to start. Now, at one point last week, I did go to our doctor's surgery, and they basically informed, so I called our doctor's surgery and they informed me that I would need to go to what's called the early pregnancy unit at our local hospital. The process is a little bit long though. Unless you have had an ectopic pregnancy or 3 miscarriages in a row, you can't just book an appointment with the early pregnancy unit. Your doctor has to refer you. But my doctor said, I'm not referring you, just go to A&E and wait. And I was a bit like, oh man, I've got 7 kids, you know, and like going to A&E, guys, you know, accident emergency, you could be there just waiting, especially if you're not like bleeding out and in excruciating pain. You could be waiting there 4 hours, because obviously they go by priority. So thank you to the help of, you know, our parents and whatnot to help kind of look after the kids as well, because we ended up going in and I was waiting for 7 hours, I think it was, for an appointment, but it wasn't even an appointment that day. I've still got to go back and have an appointment with the early pregnancy unit to have another scan, and then for them to either do one of 2 things. So either give me tablets to clear out what is left of the pregnancy, or for me to have what's called a DNC, where basically they use an instrument where they suck the remainder of what is in there out, which doesn't sound nice. And to be honest, if that means I would have to stay in overnight, I would prefer to do whatever is just easiest to kind of start the process and get it done and finished. So what I wanted to say to you guys as well is that I'm not always the best with just figuring out my emotions in my mind. And I feel like us as women can be like this. So when we're going through something, like we could talk for days afterwards and after the whole thing's finished and we've got all our thoughts ordered and we've processed it all and whatnot. But when you're in the middle of a situation, sometimes processing your emotions and how you feel can be a really challenging task. And for me, there's a couple of things that have come up. So I was mentioning to Tim last night, I was like, babes, I feel like I'd love for us to just go away and have a couple of days where we can just not think about work, not think about anything else, just zone into each other and just enjoy time. But knowing myself, I don't like to rest when I know there's work to be done. So I feel like I'm just in a process at the moment where I feel like there's going to be an opportunity to be able to stop, wind down maybe for a couple of days, just take the time, reset and realign. But as much as my body feels like I need that now, I know that mentally, if I was to give that to myself now, or if Tim was to whisk me away or something like that, because he did actually suggest that, and I was like, mentally, I'm not going to be enjoying that mentally. And I think when a woman is going through a situation where obviously it's a real emotional journey, I feel like you need to be in the right place mentally to be able to actually appreciate that journey that you're going through and benefit from it. Because if I'm there in body but not there in mind, I'm just going to come home feeling just as emotionally mixed up and, unsorted as before I went. So I feel like there's a process for me to be able to get to that point where I can feel like I'm ready to attack the world again. There's certain things that I need to get done for work. There's certain things that I need to get done for the home. There's certain things that I want to get done for the children, it's a process. And I just wanted to say to you ladies, it's okay. It's okay if you're going through something and you know that you feel mixed up and you know that you feel not quite on par with how you usually are. That's just sometimes how it goes. Sometimes I feel like, in life, everyone's like, we've got to find a solution now. There must be some way today to make you feel good. That's just not how life goes. Situations happen and it's a whole situation. There's not a quick fix. And, you need to talk to the right people. One of my good friends has been messaging me the last couple of days. She's like, I really just want us to talk. But I just feel like right now, I just would prefer to just be getting on with the things that I have to do at home rather than having lots of conversations. And sometimes it's okay to just be like that. You have to go through the process that works for you. That might not be the process for everybody. Someone might want to just go and lay on a beach and just zone out and then come back home and be ready to hit all their tasks. I just don't. I'm just not wired that way. For me, I always know that if there's anything going on in the back of my mind or I know I'm going home to do anything, then whether it's emails, whether it's folding up clothes, whatever it might be, I'm like, I want to do them tasks first and then relax. That is just the way I've always been. Now, don't lose your trail of thought, Mrs. Grimwade. That was something else I was going to say to you guys. Yes, so basically, I feel like when things happen in your life, it's never just one thing that happens. So much has been happening for us as a family. Obviously, we let you guys know when it was the right time that we'd opened up a new business. There's still other things that are happening in the background that we can't even share with you guys yet, but stick around, stick with us. There's so many exciting things that have happened that we've been working on in the background, but we just have to wait for the right time to be able to share it with you. But we are always grinding and working up new ideas and whatnot, and it takes a lot. So never does one thing ever happen at once. So we've obviously started the new business. We've had other things going on in the background. I don't know if we shared this with you guys online, but I think we spoke about Tim's granddad, the children's great granddad. He turned 101 years old last December, but unfortunately about 4 weeks ago, from old age, he did pass away. And we laid him to rest just yesterday. And that in itself, I was so surprised, how drained I felt at the end of the day yesterday. And then with Hezzy being away and all this sort of stuff, it's just everything almost seems to happen at once. And no matter how strong you feel that you are as a person, these things do take their toll. And everybody will react differently. I'm somebody that likes to, maybe I can hear other people talk, but I won't necessarily be the talker straight away. But everything happens for a reason. There's always a purpose in that. Do you know what I mean? There's always a purpose for things happening. And I just want you to feel comfortable knowing that there is a purpose to why things have happened the way they've happened. And I'll share with you guys for the last, I don't know how long, but for a little while, I felt even challenged in my Christian walk. I felt like sometimes when I've been reading the Bible, maybe it hasn't hit home the way it used to. And I felt really challenged. I felt really challenged in that area, and it hurts me because, I feel like I've been blessed so much in life, and sometimes I do feel like I can act ungrateful, and that doesn't make me proud, but I'm just being open and honest with you guys, and I'm always looking at what's next and what do I want to achieve next and what do I want to do more. But God has got you, and God holds us every single day, and he holds us through all of our situations, and he's working things out. So don't ever feel worried in the process. Don't ever feel like, oh my gosh, you know, everything's going to pot or whatnot. Or if you're somebody that wants to be a high achiever, you know, and you always feel like you're working against the clock and time is running out, trust God and just trust his plans for your life and trust the process, because everything happens at the right time, and I'm a firm believer in that. You know, we can try and make our own plans, but God's plans are higher and his ways are higher. And things like this happening, us having a miscarriage that we've never had before, I totally trust God in that process, you know. So my last words to you are, trust God, he's got you. No matter what situation you're going through, he knows what's best. Thank you for sticking around on this video, Grimwade gang. I hope it helps you. Much love always.
Don't be discouraged anymore. You'll find the thing you've been looking for. Pick up the pieces off the floor.